To shift gears a little bit and talk about really both of your businesses. Can you just give folks an introduction to both of the businesses? And it's probably, it's not fair to say both of the businesses. When I say both, I mean the whole of Urban Movement. And you can talk about all the components of that and also the consulting business as well.
So Urban Movement, I found all I've ever done is fitness. Since I was in high school, this is what I went to college for, exercise physiology, was going to go to grad school, got accepted at Middle Tennessee State University, dropped out right before school started to go and pursue this thing. So I've been doing this I found CrossFit in 06, back when nobody knew what it was. And I was lucky enough to be in the right place at the right time.
That was before the first games.
Yeah, the first games was 07. Yeah, first games technically was 07, and the one Khalifa one was 2008.
Okay.
And so it was this underground thing where I had to tell everybody what CrossFit was for years. And even up until like 2015 and 16, when CrossFit, the saturation, and it became a household name, Trainwreck. You know, the Amy Schumer movie with LeBron James. They, John Cena's and they're making fun of CrossFit. Like, that's like a moment for people, right?
Yeah. Like, we've made it.
Yeah, we've made it. Yeah, and so CrossFit is in pop culture. And once it got into pop culture, because of, unfortunately, what I consider the bad dual branding, the bad global branding of CrossFit, where it is a fitness methodology for everyone, but it's also a sport for the fittest in the world.
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, it got a little confusing, so I decided to rebrand and reposition my business as Urban Movement. We are people ask me what Urban Movement is, and I use brand anchoring. I say it's like CrossFit, but you won't get injured, and it's less douchey. And it's like Orange Theory, but it's not boring, and you won't run on a treadmill for an hour. We are in this white space in the middle. And so,
for folks who haven't been to the gym, you really should check it out. It really is a mind-blowingly beautiful concept. Very well done.
Yeah, so I mean, John was at my old location. We rented 2 small little warehouses in the past 8 years, and then I decided I wanted to get into commercial real estate. And so when I purchased this building, I had this completely different idea, where Urban Movement was going to be a place where people came to get work done and work out. So we have a coffee shop in here, we have a Wi-Fi lounge. People come in here all throughout the day. They're not members. They just come in here as a customer of the coffee shop or to use the free Wi-Fi lounge and hang out. And they get to look through the glass windows and see maybe a class going on, or at least inquire, or maybe they never become members, who cares? So that was my different vision. I kind of just graduated. So that's what Urban Movement is today as far as that goes. It is a place for people to work out and get work done.
And before we get into the other business, what do you do to improve this business and to grow it? Is it to grow the membership base? Is it to grow the price per
So I've taken a huge hit membership base wise. I took a very healthy business. Like CrossFit South End was, and this is all I do now as I look at the numbers of businesses, we were doing phenomenal. We at our most, we were touching on $500,000 a year at a very, very healthy profit margin. So for brick and mortar fitness, a 30% profit margin is an A+. That is an A+.
That's EBITDA. That's not gross margin.
Correct. Yeah. So we'll call it EBITDA. 30% is for a gym to pull that off and be able to walk away from it. So I had an Isaac running the place. I had coaches. That is very difficult to do. We were doing very well. When I moved this thing over here, John can relate to this. Our old location, the visibility of our old location. I've got a photo to remind me of it right up there. I kept that specific photo for a reason. I took for granted how great a visibility and marketing just visibility is, and being in front of everyone. So we had our parking lot is a huge tailgating parking lot on Sundays for Panthers games. Everyone saw it. As you got off that highway, you had to sit there at the light and stare at our building. It was amazing. I didn't spend
and when people come to the events from out of town, traffic backs up right along that street.
It was the best, man. Like, there was never going to be a better visibility spot, but I didn't own it, and I had to play the long-term game. I'm taking very short-term pain for long-term gain, if you will.
Sure.
So, but yeah, no, our membership, so for me, to answer your question, it's not necessarily membership growth at this point. Right now, we are just very much in a brand awareness scenario. I had my first, I had an encounter maybe like 8 months ago where someone saw me with an Urban Movement hoodie, and a woman came up to me at the grocery store and goes, "Oh my God, I have been meaning to check that out with my husband." And I'm like, "Oh my God, great, you guys should come to one of our classes." And she just stared at me. She's like, "It's a microbrewery, right?" I was like, fuck, damn it. Because I no longer have the CrossFit name to wave in the air. Like, people, again, like I started when nobody knew what it was. That's the problem now. Everybody has an idea as to what it is, but it is a different idea. Some people, like you, love it. Other people hate it because their mom tried it and blew out her ACL.
Or it seems like a cult because people are posting about it all the time.
100%. And so I can't, so part of me, it's a chip on my shoulder. Can I create my own brand and do my own thing? Is all the success that I had as CrossFit South End, I had the greatest name in the world in Charlotte, which is South End, attached to your business, and then you had this CrossFit thing. Did I have this amazing luck, or can I actually create my own flag, fly that shit, and actually grow it? And so part of that is a chip on my shoulder, but brand awareness is our biggest thing right now. You know, people coming in and, when I meet people and I say, oh, I own Urban Movement, and people say, oh, I've heard of that, that is a win for me. When people were canceling and we get their cancellation form, what is the number one reason or why are you canceling? And the number one reason was, it's not CrossFit anymore. That's me winning. Sure. That means I'm actually doing something. Besides just a lot of gyms change the name on the front of the building, but it's just CrossFit on the inside. You know, like I talked with Eric about that over at Stacks. It's still just a CrossFit gym on the inside. It's just changing the digital outside, but if you walk inside, it is exactly what you would expect for a CrossFit gym. It is. I wanted to make it so that the name of the outside was different, but then when you walk in and look at the inside, it is truly different as well. And so that's the current challenge right now. It's just, I'd say we are very much still in a brand awareness. Yes, do we want membership growth? 100%. Yeah. But I'll sacrifice that. I'm in no ruch for that yet. I just wanted to get the name out there.
Well, and the real estate play is phenomenal. Sure. When you bought out here, it was a very different landscape.
And it's only been 2 years, or going on 3 years from the time we closed. 2 years since we moved in. But yeah, the landscape here is changing insanely. But you know, and the real estate thing, again, it's all patience. And that's hard because the CrossFit gym for me exploded in a course of 5 years. Like, exploded for me. I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to market. Yeah. It was easy money. That's like when I hear gyms that went out of business in like 2012 to 15. I'm like, what the fuck were you doing that you went out of business? How did that happen? You'd be a moron and do this.
Well, I told a friend, he said, I noticed a couple CrossFit gyms shut down recently near me, and he said, is that a thing? Because he was here touring Urban Movement. He said, is that a thing that people are just bailing? And I said, well, usually when a CrossFit gym closes, it's because they outgrew their location and they're going into a bigger one. But maybe we could hit on that in a little bit, whether you see that trend 100%. Reversing. But I do want you to touch a little bit on WTF Gym Talk and the consulting business. So maybe, again, introduce the listeners to what it is.
So what the fuck Gym Talk? WTF Gym Talk was this idea I had where, at the time, from a business consulting standpoint, there was really not a lot out there. There was a gentleman from Canada named Chris Cooper. He's a phenomenal business consultant, a great entrepreneur. Jason Kalipa was doing a little bit of it, who's a very popular in the CrossFit realm scenario. He's done an amazing job.
You mentioned he won the 08 games.
Yeah, me and him were driving around in this truck 2 days ago. I was in San Jose with him. So, wow. And then, but there was really nobody. Jason Kalipa won the games, you know, so there was a popularity ahead of time. There was these guys like Ben Bergeron, who his wife won the games, and he coaches all these games athletes, and he has a successful gym. There was nobody that looked like me, a fuckface that nobody knew. I've never competed in CrossFit like that. Nobody knows who I am. And I started off in a pickup truck with $600 of Craigslist equipment, and I organically grew it through nothing but hard work and some knowledge, because this is the industry I decided to be in. You know, a lot of CrossFit owners, they made a passion purchase. They were actually a dental hygienist assistant, and they lost 40 pounds at the CrossFit gym, and they had this amazing thing. Their Aunt Betsy dies, leaves them 75 grand, and they decided to open up and quit their life trajectory and become a fucking CrossFit owner.
I visited a couple of those. You can tell they feel very different.
Yeah, and like, I feel super comfortable. I would go toe-to-toe with anybody in the world on any training methodology argument where I have one position and they have another, and I would feel completely fine that I could stand up to anybody in the world, because I'm a coach first. Like, that's what I've known. Human movement, kinesthetic awareness, kinesiology, all that stuff. So I had all of that, but nobody was doing the business thing with this kind of rags to riches kind of story. And I have a certain delivery method that I didn't see anybody else out there. I am a little bit more Howard Stern, shock jock, a little more in your face.
Can I interject for 1 second and just tell the folks a funny story? So Stu was coaching me probably 3 or 4 years ago, and I've got really bad squat form, always have. And so he's having me squat down to a box, and I'm being very hesitant, or maybe even reticent, I don't know what the term is, but I'm not squatting all the way down. And Stu, to his Howard Stern point, yells out at me, "Espy, what the fuck? You're not in a public bathroom trying to avoid herpes."
Hovering over the toilet seat,
Hovering over the toilet seat.
It's a perfect verbal cue where people are like, oh yeah, I know exactly what that's like to hover over it.
Sorry, I didn't mean to derail you, but I think that's instructive of your style.
And it's very much more nurture than it is, maybe it's nature, maybe it's genetic, but like, I grew up in a very Irish Catholic household in Cleveland, Ohio, sitting down every Sunday with my grandparents and my family watching the Cleveland Browns, especially during the years where Art Modell took us away to the... I grew up, and literally, dude, I was swearing at an unhealthy level at a very young age. And it was upbringing. Me and Susan, who's my mom, and I love her dearly. We can't go an hour with each other without just motherfuck this and cocksucker that and this and that. It gets very aggressive. So my nature is always a little bit more. I mean, like to John's point, I've told people like, hey guys, clench your prison wallet. Meaning I want them to squeeze their butt cheeks. Like I will use cues that nobody taught me. It's just part of my upbringing.
Sure. Has that ever gotten you in trouble, by the way?
Well, not in my own business. Okay. No, I'm sure maybe some clients sign off of it. I mean, I get the internet tells me every single day. You know, you get the people who chime in. They still subscribe to your YouTube. And they want to let you know that they think you're the worst human being in the world. Yeah. So I hear it every day. But What the Fuck Gym Talk, it was just, I wanted to have a very no BS approach to giving people practical business advice from someone who literally just went through this very particular kind of story that I think a lot of people can relate to. And I just thought I had a delivery style that made storytelling just a tad bit more interesting than what was currently out there. Not that any of those other guys are fine, just in my opinion, it was boring as fuck.
Yep.
And so I just wanted to take that. And I had the opportunity. I walked away from the business. Isaac, who's my GM on the other side of this wall, she makes this business operate and run. She is absolutely amazing. We have Deuce now, so I'm not needed in urban movement.
Yeah, you've got a great staff.
Yeah,
sure.
So like, what else do I do besides help other gym owners?
So with the two businesses, I mean, I think I know the answer. Talk a little bit about which is more exciting, and also, it's weird because you couldn't have WTF Gym Talk without
the CrossFit urban experience and
so
urban movement.
So maybe just talk about all of that whole dynamic and how that works out for you in your mind.
I think things happen subconsciously. So when I look at it, and I've talked to my branding and marketing coach about this, when we really think about the creation story of What the Fuck Gym Talk, urban movement, I really love the idea. I love the concept of it. And it's still so young. I'm like watching a baby. I've got a 2-year-old baby and I have a 2-year-old business. I think of urban movement as a brand new business, even though the LLC and everything's the same as it used to be. But I look at it as, did I take the risk to buy the real? I could have just leased like everybody else and still had a really successful business and all that. Did I do the real estate thing to put me in this 0.001% of gym owners so I could talk about it and have that thing? Am I doing this urban movement thing to give myself clout for What the Fuck Gym Talk? And then am I doing What the Fuck Gym Talk to develop a following of people who then maybe want to go to franchise or affiliate or license urban movements across the country? I now have a built-in clientele. Like, is it the chicken or the egg? Which way are the dominoes falling? Sure. Am I doing one to support the other? And
it doesn't have to be a linear.
It doesn't have. No, it doesn't. But it's funny when I sit there and think about, like, am I subconsciously pulling a Frank Underwood and thinking of the long con on some of this stuff? And I don't really think of it like that. It's funny to kind of step outside of my brain and look at it, where those dominoes might fall. The excitement right now is definitely for me is in watching urban movement develop, turn into a man, turn into a person, an adult, a real business. Like I said, brand awareness is all I care about right now. So, but that is a very slow grind. Like that is something you have to have an extreme amount of patience on. And I would say with What the Fuck Gym Talk, it's a much more instant gratification. I can spend 1 hour on the phone with somebody and get that text or that email a week later, like, holy shit, I did what you told me to do, and I'm going to make payroll this month and rent, and my kids are still going to get their braces. So there's a little more instant gratification. I enjoy the traveling. I enjoy the content creation, creating videos and editing and stuff like that, something I've taken a huge love to. Yeah, my day-to-day is 100% consumed by What the Fuck Gym Talk, and then there's splurts of urban movement in between.
Okay, very, very interesting for sure. I can definitely see how the two feed off of one another and create options for you in the future. When you're talking to a gym owner who wants to scale their business, what are the options for them typically to scale it? Because they're not all going to be able to create What the Fuck Gym Talk, right?
For a microgym, you mean?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the first thing, everyone generally steps into the group model. You know, they sell memberships. And I think the first thing you have to do at that point is realize it's what I call a one-to-one model. So let's say the gym membership's $150 a month, and John joins up, he hands me $150, and I just charge him $150 on the back end. That model, one-to-one, will only work in very specific volume-based microgyms. We're talking 400 plus members.
That's what you need to
get
to.
That is maybe 300 and change or whatever, but it has to be a volume-based microgym. And CrossFits don't lend themselves well to being volume-based because the amount of equipment and space needed per workout is very high, and the skill level is high. You need more coaches on the floor, and it just starts fucking with your economic model. So adding in personal training is my personal preference. I believe everybody coming into a CrossFit gym should probably start off with one-on-one coaching first. And even like back in my early days, we didn't do this. You know, like you didn't start off with one-on-one. We did one-on-ones.
We had fundamentals.
We had our fundamentals, and we did one-on-ones later on down the road with some stuff in individual design. But I believe installing things like personal training and having that become 20, 25, 30% of your total monthly revenue, getting that up there. Everyone enters through that genesis. Even the experienced CrossFitters that come to you, having them do one session to test in the class, handing them a sheet of paper. Can you perform all these movements? And then sometimes you see these guys have been doing CrossFit for 6 years. They can barely do anything well. And you're like,
sure.
That's why we pump the brakes here. So I think there's that from a scaling. I don't think a lot of microgym owners are set up to do multiple locations. Okay. I don't think that's the scaling option. I think that's where too many guys go too quickly. I think they got lucky. Like, again, like it would have been really easy for me to look at CrossFit South and be like, holy fuck, I can do CrossFit. Low-so really well, and because I did it this way. And I think it's not until you've been able to put your people in place, like your GM, your assistant GM, and walk away from it. I mean, like when I mean walk away from it for 12 months, and it actually grew, it thrived, it did not just survive. Then I think the scale could be a second location, or I think you could fuck with a digital scale, which with What the Fuck Gym Talk, the great thing about that is higher scalability to the, especially with Microgym University, that creates a scalable model.
Yeah, it's interesting to think if there's a Peloton play along
I think there's a digital play. Imagine if
you
you cancel my gym because you got to study for the bar, right? And I'm like, well, but John, what are you going to do for fitness? I don't know, mate. You know, there's an apartment complex gym that I've got in my place. I'm probably just do some of the stuff you taught me. Like, well, listen, for $14.99, you can access Movement Anywhere. That is our app that gives you up-to-date, brand new workouts that we are doing here in class. It shows you how to scale them, whether you have no equipment, if you just have a dumbbell, whatever. Hell, we have a package here that is an ab mat, a foam roller, and a torpedo, and you can buy that and get Movement Anywhere and still follow along. It's only $14.95 a month. Do you know how many people spend $14.95 a month on bullshit they don't even realize they're getting subscribed for?
Yeah.
So I think there is a digital... I think you could create a digital revenue stream where somebody can still stay on a small EFT tit even after they cancel.
Yep.
And even if you have 30% of your people who cancel to stay on the tit there, and you would eventually be crazy like, holy shit, there are people actually purchasing this that don't even ever go to the gym. Maybe that's your low barrier to entry to get them in the gym first.
Yep.
I think there's something to that obviously requires a great deal of investment in time and energy and resources to make that happen. But I think Peloton's here to stay. I think Alchemy Anywhere is here to stay. I think Tonal is here to stay. The Mirror, all these digital brands, they're not going to go anywhere. ClassPass has a digital version now, and you're going to be able to do ClassPass at home. So yes, I think digital will be the other thing from a scalability.
And I wanted to ask you where you think the innovation is coming, because clearly CrossFit changed the game and was a major innovation and really changed the way people think about fitness in America and globally as well. Do you think the next wave of innovation comes more with the personalized, digital, distributed, to literally millions and billions of users, or is there some other format that's out there that you think can...
Just like CrossFit didn't create the pull-up or the power clean and sprinting 400 meters, they're kind of like the Beatles. The Beatles didn't create the G chord and the C chord and the F sharp, but they put it together in a way that the masses loved it. It made sense. It was different than what they had heard before.
How do you see this evolving over time, your content strategy?
Yeah, so very similar to my